Alright, so I know I'm a little bit behind schedule, but I saw the first Purge last night, and I don't mean the first Purge movie, I mean the new Purge movie that's called the first Purge because it happens before the first Purge. Either way, you know what I mean. So I went into it with really low expectations. I wasn't expecting an amazing movie. Jen's just a fan of horror movies in general, so end up seeing a lot of them. And I honestly don't mind the other Purge movies. I don't think they're amazing. I don't think they're terrible. Like, I've definitely seen worse movies, so I wasn't like opposed to going to see it. And I think it's just really interesting the like cycle that all of these movies have taken. So this one is very political feeling in a lot of ways, and I feel like that is the direction they've been moving with the series, especially with the last one, election year. You expect it to have that like political tone, but this one is actually supposed to be set in current day. It was supposed to be set in March of 2018 when they decide they're going to do the first Purge because of the new founding fathers of America. My cat is losing his mind. So this movie actually has like 3 or 4 different like stages of the style of movie that it is. It really starts off as like a political thriller when they're announcing the Purge, they're getting people to sign up. It's basically all just contained to Staten Island, and then if it goes well, they'll expand it to the rest of America, and they're actually offering people like $5,000 just to stay on the island, knowing that people that are poor and struggling will be like, yeah, sure, we'll stay in our houses for $5,000. But then they say they'll offer them more money if they actively participate in the Purge. And they're asking them all sorts of questions like, did they have like unchecked anger issues? Did they ever want to lash out? And the entire idea is that for some reason, if you give people 12 hours to kill people and just do whatever they want, but specifically kill people, that will like level them out for the rest of the year. Basically, that is what the original story was really trying to drive home. But then this starts driving home that like political issue that I'm sure they did not even mean to start off with. Like the first Purge movie, the original Purge movie is literally about a upper class white family. Like their family is in security, and when something like the Purge is happening, you know that any kind of security firms, businesses, companies, they're gonna be rolling in the cash. So it was like an upper class white family being terrorized, which pretty standard. And then it's just been trickling down to, okay, so the government is actively involved in this and using it as an opportunity to wipe out minorities, poor people, homeless people, drug addicts, and other people that are seen as burdens to various lifestyles. If you take out all the poor people, you don't really have to worry about social initiatives, taking care of them, and it's a really dark, dirty thing. So that's how this movie really starts. It's really pushing the political thing, how it's like an experiment just to see if you let people just cut loose for 12 hours, will it cut down on crime the rest of the year? They don't really drive that point a lot in this movie, and it does really take that heavy-handed political tone. And then for a bit, it goes more into that like horror slasher thriller type movie, kind of into a suspense. And then by the end of it, it's basically just, it's like an action thriller. So it kind of goes through a bunch of different stages. I would say that it's probably the least scary of all of them. Not that any of them are like, oh my God, I'm so afraid. But it's the one that tries to scare you the least, I would say. Apparently, it has the largest budget of any of them, which was surprising because there's a scene around the beginning with the political dude and Marissa Tomei, who is the like psychologist that was like, oh yeah, we would predict that it would be high amounts of violence towards the beginning of the evening and then it would trickle down into being pretty quiet by the end of the night. So she's the one trying to find the data that supports the ideas behind it. And then like talking to a reporter, and the green screen that they used, or just the CG they used, it could have been a blue screen, it could have been anything, but either way, what they're using to impose them on the background is so shitty. Like, it is terrible. And it would have made more sense if they had just cut to it actually being an inside recording that they're like, oh yeah, we can't associate with the degenerates. We couldn't actually be near them while we were doing these interviews. Like, it would have made sense and it would have been funny, but as it stood, it was like, how do you have a budget that's so much higher than all of the other movies and this looks so bad? Like, what? I don't know what the purpose was. Either way, that was so bad, and it was like pretty early on, and I was literally just kind of like looking around the theater with like my mouth hanging open because I couldn't believe how terrible it looked. Other than that though, I will say the acting was pretty good. There wasn't a lot of character development, unfortunately, just kind of really shallow development and connections here and there, but I don't really expect too much from them in that department. But the way the characters acted were all great, I thought that it was really well done. I'd say the weakest character acting job was Isaiah, but at the same time, I feel like if that was a real person out in the world, that is probably how they'd act So I guess maybe it wasn't that bad. So for like a rating, I will give this movie like a solid 5 out of 10. There's some really, really, really heavy-handed political pandering. But overall, it was kind of like a fun action movie. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. There wasn't really anything that's gonna make me want to go back and watch it again, but it wasn't, I don't regret having seen it. I would say if I was gonna give it a rating, I would call it a, like a rent it. Like maybe if it's on like, if you have to spend like $4 to rent it, or if it's on Netflix or something, give it a watch. But it was fun. It was a fun movie. If you like the other Purge movies, you'll probably like it. Maybe not though. I guess if you didn't like Election Year, you probably won't like this one because it kind of goes really into that political stuff. If you are looking for more of that, like that trapped feeling that the first one gives you, you're not really gonna get that experience in this at all. So you might not like it. It is really like The Purge Goes to the Hood. There is a very distinct, like all of the people that are being attacked, all of the people that are just citizens are all like minorities, and then all of the people that are part of the bad political groups are all white, so it does really have that staunch contrast. And I know a lot of people are really upset about that. But I wasn't watching this movie for it to be a accurate representation of America in any way. I do think, like a horror movie, it is just an exaggerated buildup of what some of the fears in America are. It is just like the over the top, like this is the worst case scenario of what could happen from some of the fears that minorities and just various people have in America. So I'll give it that. So here we're gonna go a little bit more into the spoilers just to give you guys a heads up. But if you've seen the other Purge movies, it really shouldn't be much of a shock, especially the last one. So as per has been going on with the Purge movies, that they don't really talk too much about in the first one, but definitely gets driven in the last one, is that when people don't kill themselves, when people don't just start fighting over one another to just kill people like they expected them to, and they're just having like purge parties and just having a good time and cutting loose, and you might get like a couple people trying to break into businesses to get money, but people aren't killing anybody. There's like one crazy dude running around. They start sending in various mercenary groups, Russian groups, white supremacist groups, and people literally dressed like the KKK to start killing people in the more impoverished neighborhoods. First, they go to all the locations where those purge parties are happening, incite the terror there, kill everybody, and then by the end of it, they are going to the like low-income residence areas, like the low-income apartment areas. And that is where some people are like, this is very heavy-handed. There was literally a grab her by the pussy joke in this, like when the main chick is going to try to rescue the brother, and the guy starts pulling her down the storm drain, and he literally grabs at her, and she says something like, "You disgusting pussy grabber," or something like that. Like literally very heavy-handed. And then when they find the mercenaries and they can hear them speaking Russian on the other end, which really just kind of like lies into the whole like Russian influence in current American politics. And then obviously like the white supremacists and everything that had been going on in Charlottesville. So it's very heavy-handed in that sense. And I feel like a lot of people are just gonna get unnecessarily angry about it. So clearly it does get pretty heavy-handed there. And then in the end, you get that one guy, Dmitri, just running around, killing people like a one-man army, like a super soldier. Like it literally basically turned into a Captain America movie, or like Blade or Raid. It's like this one dude, he doesn't mention that he has any military training. One of his friends does. One of his friends was like, yeah, you know, this is like these mercenaries, they're hired professionals, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, all the other gang members get taken out by the drones. And then this one man goes and takes down an entire group of highly trained mercenaries whose leader is dressed up like a Nazi. It was just been like, he could just take them all out. Again, at the end, like he actually had to like blow them up and shit, but the crazy dude managed to take out 3 of them with one blade before anybody could lay him out. Like that's, when you're all decked out in that much military gear, it was a little bit unbelievable that like one guy could take out that many people, and then it was still kind of unbelievable that he could take out that many people. But it's a movie. Like I don't look at it to be super realistic, and if I did, obviously I'd be like, how the fuck did this one man take out that many people? Like all they do to show his like physical prowess is at the beginning of the movie, he's running on a treadmill. This man is in shape. But that's what I mean. It really just turns into like an action movie at the end. It's like a straight up action thriller by the end. Like dude becomes Captain America, can take out all these different soldiers all by himself. And he does struggle at a couple points, but he still takes them out. He still takes out highly trained mercenaries, which it was kind of interesting. But yeah, overall, like not the best movie. I wouldn't necessarily recommend seeing it in theaters unless you are just a fan of going to the movies like I am, or if you're a fan of Purge movies, you might want to give it a go just for fun, because it's kind of like a quiet time for movies right now. I really wanted to see Sorry to Bother You, but it doesn't seem to be playing here, even though they're playing the advertisements for it, which is annoying. But other than that, it's been a pretty quiet time for good movies. So yeah, that is pretty much gonna do that for my little like overview, wrap up, review type thing. Oh yeah, the mid-credit roll ends up announcing that they're doing a Purge television show that's gonna air in September apparently. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that, because I feel like there's a lot of areas they could go with the Purge movies that they haven't touched on. Like they're really hung up on the fact that people wanna kill other people that much. Like you're gonna have people that wanna kill somebody, but it's probably gonna be someone they know, someone that's wronged them, and then you might get a couple serial killers. In some of these movies, you get so many people that are just like, hell yeah, I'm gonna kill anybody that I come across. Like that's not normal human behavior. Like at least this movie tried to touch on that, is that people aren't just naturally gonna want to go around killing people, and then in the future movies, it's just become such a regular part of society that more people get involved in it for some reason. I do think more people will enjoy scaring people, looting, and just doing random shit like that. People like chaos. People don't necessarily like murder. Not everybody becomes a serial killer, but it would be cool if they looked into serial killers and the Purge and them waiting for the Purge and planning things around the Purge. But either way, there's a lot of other avenues that they could look at the Purge series, and I guess it might be interesting to see what they do, or they could just stop. They won't, but they could. But yeah, that's gonna do it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a fantastic day. We'll catch you all later. And as always, thank you to all my patrons. I think they'll be on some side. Thank you very much. Have a fantastic day. Also, we are starting to do the sub and patron movie nights where we like chill and watch a movie on Rabbit. So if you are a patron or if you are a Twitch sub, you can get involved in that. The links will go up in the Discord and everything. So it's like my Discord is discord.gg/AmandaTheJedi. Yeah, have a good day.